Hello, everyone! Our immersion in the heart of the World Series of Poker main event continues in Las Vegas. If we're still here, it's above all thanks to Adrian Mateos, who has reigned supreme at the table since day one. With impressive consistency, the Spanish legend continues to pile up the chips and crush the competition. With a stack of 2.4 million, blinds at 6,000, 12,000, and less than 800 players remaining out of over 10,000 at the starting line, the Mavericks' journey is starting to look like a real saga. There are just over 4 hours of play left tonight. Adrian's next objective is to reach the 5th day of the tournament, while remaining firmly among the chip leaders. Adrian, it's your time to play.
Open from the hijack. And I'm in the big blind with this hand. My hand is usually a 3-bet with these positions, although the calls EV is similar. I think 3-betting earns more money on average.
Thank you. 110. 110. 110.
We're gonna build a big pot. My opponent goes in the tank for a long time and decides to 4-bet.
Range 245.
Against a 4-bet with 90 blinds, out of position, my hand is one of the worst in my range. This hand is not good enough to call. Shoving would be too aggressive unless I had a very clear read on my opponent. I think the best option is to fold. I have to do the chip race, buy all the chips of a color at the table, the yellow ones, and exchange them for bigger chips. The 9. $25. 25.
25. Okay. 25 is a bet. Call 25.
I find myself against the big blind again, who decides to call. A good flop for my range, where I'm going to have a high c-betting frequency. With my hand, I can either check or c-bet.
22.
In this case, I decide to bet.
22 is a bet.
Whenever I think there are 2 options that can be picked, it's because they are very close in EV, and I make my decision depending on small details.
Call.
The turn is very good.
check.
I think it's a turn where I'm going to have to either check often or bet big.
Okay.
I don't have another strategy here. Yeah, I decide to bet 90% of the pot, approximately.
Bet.
Sorry? Friend. And you? Welcome.
All the while hoping my opponent calls. If he shoves, it's a complex spot. I hope he just calls.
Enjoy the food, guys. Oh, there it is.
The river completes the spades and puts me in a delicate situation. My hand is on the borderline between value betting or not. I need him to call me with a lot of worse queens. The problem is that pre-flop, he's defending less queen X offsuit than he should. Plus, he has a lot of flushes. All the queen X of spades, 9X of spades. He can't have them because I blocked the 9, but he still has king X of spades, ace X of spades. He could be slow playing with king jack, jack 8, queen 10, queen 9. These are hands that beat me and that are going to have to sometimes raise on the turn. But if he considers me as an aggressive player, he can often be content with calling. Even some sets, pocket 9s, pocket 4s, pocket 10s are possible. Therefore, I need more worse hands to call me than better hands. And indeed, with this hand, it's very borderline. But if I think he's capable of hero folding a queen, especially since pre-flop, he's defending less queens than he should. Even if sometimes he can call me with king 10, jack 10. It's tough for him, but you never know. Jack 9, I don't think he's going to call with these hands on the river. Besides, the SPR I have left is a bit uncomfortable. I'm going to go for the check.
Check. See him.
I'm not sure an all-in is more profitable than the check, and making it another sizing would be an option, but I open the door to being raised all-in as a bluff. I have doubts about this hand. It's very close between betting and checking on the river. I decide to take a more cautious line and to check back. But it's going to depend on the frequency at which he bluff catches me on the river. Without information on the opponent, it's tough. Nevertheless, if I didn't have a spade, it would be a clear check. With the 9 of spades, it's a bit closer.
Deja de acumular tantas.
De eso,
Con 5 verdes me doblo.
de eso se trata los torneos.
¿Eh?
400. Could you change or I have to...
Nope, that's all you have to do. They'll come along and
Okay.
round it up and get you what you need.
2.3, ¿no? Eso
Son
está-
4.
Hay que sumarlo.
Sí, 4. 2. 2,6.
Joder, está bien. Let's go.
Por ellos.
Bueno, tío. Voy al ramen a...
A comer, dale.
bien?
¿Qué pasó? ¿Perdiste el botazo? ¿Qué?
Sí, no, te quería preguntar, sí, ¿estás bien?
Bien.
¿Tranquilo? No, te quería preguntar si crees que hay alguna chance de
Japón.
foldear. La verdad que no me gustaba, no me gustaba nada, pero estuve todo el día jugando una mesa súper dura, me fue excelente. Hasta que lo colgué con J. High y un posazo.
Ganaste. Qué guapo.
Me cambian una mesa que era el paraíso, todos pescados. Bueno, había algunos rex, pero pocos, ¿no? 2 rex a mi derecha. El de UTG que estaba montado tenía pinta de rec, pero viste, esos rex medio pelo. Y nada, me siento, a la primera SB que vengo, el de mi derecha me dice, "Bueno, parece que vamos a tener que pelear". Primer mano que abre button, tengo as 2 suites, le hago trío por 4.2, me foldea. Viste, dice, ya arrancó lo coco, ya arrancó lo coco. Pega la vuelta, abrí alguna mano, si me foldearon. O sea, me veía bastante activo. No hice nada raro, pero me veía bastante activo. Y encima con la imagen que ya tengo. Abre UTG a 24K, juega 1.387.000 fichas. Yo tengo
110.
1.600.000. Abre 24K. El cutoff un reg, se nota que reg
Paga.
no le hace 86K. En SB Reyes. ¿Qué crees que se le da que colfrutear obligatorio, no?
Sí, sí.
¿A cuánto le metes?
250, entre 230 y 250 o así. ¿Qué hiciste?
Le metí 196 para dejarle espacio al SB que haga algo con el stack que tenía, o al UTG para que haga algo con el stack que tenía.
Ahí nada, o sea, UTG nunca va a hacer, no debería tener faroles ahí.
Ok, bueno, le hice 196 y me hace 440.
UTG,
Sí,
dura. Y juega 1,3.
sí.
All-in.
No hay forma de escapar.
A ver, lo tienes que tener muy claro, son 2 recs, has dicho, ¿no?
Yo al UTG no lo conozco, pero bueno, tiene un palo 3, o sea, tiene 1.300.000, está ahí con su
¿Qué te puede hacer?
mirando todo, o sea, se nota que
Puede hacerte farol con array ahí.
puede hacer una rey, ¿no?
Yo faroleo array off ahí, es mi único farol, array off.
Eh,
Es duro.
nada,
O sea, damas me tiro seguro.
no, damos foldeo 100%. Damos foldeo 100%.
Tenía ases, ¿no?
Pasa que si estoy en button, capaz le hago call call al Dried, pero me parece que
No, o sea, sin más coolers, mala suerte. O sea, tampoco, o sea, al final no puedes intentar evitar todos los coolers. Hay veces que te la van a poner en contra y ya está.
no la foldeas nunca.
No. O sea, tengo que tenerlo muy claro. Tengo que verle que sea muy neat, o de un tel claro, o que esté muy a gusto. O sea,
Le tembló la mano, pero muy poco,
son
¿viste?
solo 100, son 100 ciegas.
No fue que le hizo la mano así, ¿viste? O sea, le tembló muy poquito y lo vi y dije, "Ay, ¿qué blef tiene acá? Para mí no tiene blef". Y digo, pero soy yo.
Claro,
soy yo
igual
que
te metes a
sigo
damas
con la mano
suites, igual te
igual,
metes a
dice
array
Secret
off.
blef, que acabo de sentarme y le tribeteo SB, que meto call forward de SB de nuevo. En esa la otra vuelta y tengo dos reyes, no que tengo a rey o que tengo damas.
O sea, yo con mi imagen también que sea esa parecida a la tuya, bueno, tú incluso igual más agro en esos spots, yo no me tiro.
¿No?
No, porque las veces que se tiran es una forrada. Y aún así cuando te stackeas tienes un 20, o sea que tampoco vas al 0, ¿sabes?
Claro.
A veces la tiran.
Claro.
Que eso también nadie lo tiene en cuenta, pero
Sí, sí,
es
sí,
importante,
100%,
¿sabes?
sí,
O sea,
100%.
a veces tienes un 20%, cuando vas all-in te vuelve, o sea, cuando tú vas all-in 1,2 millones y te pagan el bote de 2,5 y te corresponden 500, o sea, estás perdiendo solo 600k o 400k de V.
Claro.
No es todo el pozo, ¿sabes?
Sí.
Y es lo que hay. ¿Cuánto tienes?
Ahora volví, había quedado con 300 y tengo 600.
Bueno, bien,
605.
bien. Hay vida.
Sí. ¿Vos?
Vamos. 2,5 millones.
Suerte.
Va, todo bien. Voy, vaya a cenar. Nos vemos. Chao.
A moment of relaxation after discussing a few hands with my friend. End of the break. They did my chip race. They exchanged my 1,000 chips for larger ones. I'm making sure everything is correct, and then I'm getting back at it. The 100,000 chips are coming into play. These, the purple ones. They are worth 100,000 each.
What do you got, 400?
No.
Boom, 400.
What's the breaking order, do you know?
I'm sorry?
The breaking order, do you know? This
I-
way?
I think it's that way.
That way.
Yep.
You guys should get your seats at this time. Going back 10,000 small, 15,000,
1 hour,
15,000.
strong pressure.
Please, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Our table is going to break soon. I don't think we're going to end the day altogether. But in the meantime, I'm going to open this hand.
Raise him up.
Great flop. It's a flop where I'm going to want to c-bet with almost my entire range. It's a very favorable flop to the player who raises. I decide to make a small bet on the flop, and on this turn, I think I'm going to have two sizings, a big one and a really big one. My hand clearly has to be bet. And the only hesitation I have is whether to go for the overbet or whether I make a bet of 3/4 pot instead. He folds. Players are getting eliminated. There are less and less of us. A player opens from early position. Ace-King on the cutoff against 43-45 blinds. It's an obvious 3-bet. I'm gonna re-raise to 90,000. If he jams, I'm gonna end up calling, but the guy to my left is thinking pretty hard. If he goes all in himself, it's not the best situation. My opponent is tanking. He's thinking pretty hard. It looks like he's not going to fold. He 4-bets me. Against a 4-bet, my hand is a clear all-in with this stack. I hope he folds. But if he doesn't fold, I have a decent hand. It's likely he wants to induce with pocket jacks, pocket queens, even ace-king. There are a lot of hands I'm going to split or flip with. And aces and kings, which are the worst hands, I'm blocking them, so it's not going to be that often. Plus, he also has bluffs. If he folds, it would be excellent news. I shove, he calls, bad news. Ace-king, he has queen-queen alright. And I'm going to play a pretty big coin flip. A flip of 45 blinds per head. Let's hope we win with an ace. Nice, good start. Let's go. I win an important flip that propels me to one of the biggest stacks of the tournament. I was doing pretty well, but this pot puts me way ahead of most players.
Pay out 506.
more than 3 million in chips. We started the tournament with 60,000 chips, and I've managed to accumulate over 3 million. But there are still a lot of millions to accumulate if I want to win this tournament or make it to the final table. There are a lot of players and millions of chips in play. There is a lot of work ahead. One hand after the other. I'm going to open this hand. The big blind defends, with whom I've already played quite a few hands today. 10-6-6, an interesting flop. My hand can either bet or check. It's a flop on which he's gonna have a big advantage of trips and me of top pairs and over pairs. The problem is that we're a bit deep. We're playing 60 blinds, and against a check raise, my hand is in a bad position. I'm going to take the check-check line. Let's see. The turn is amazing. The best possible turn, which gives me a full house. And if on the flop I didn't want him to have 6x, I now really want him to have 6x. He has a lot of potential bluffs, but also a lot of value hands. He's going to adopt a strategy with a lot of checks. And bets with probably two sizings, a small one and a big one, but it might only be the big sizing. And the big sizing in this case could be an overbet. He goes for the overbet. Theoretically, it's rather well played. This player knows what he's doing. You can tell he studied the game. I have a very strong hand. It's a good candidate to raise, but it's a spot in which I want to have very few raises, and in the end, I decide to adopt a strategy in which I don't have raises. My range suffers quite a bit, and the strong hands, it's better to call with them to protect my calling range, otherwise he makes me get to the river with a fairly weak range. He has 2.5 pots left on the river. He could very well go all in with a 6 here, and with bluffs. On top of that, the river completes Jack-9, which is one of the possible bluffs he could have on the turn. I hope he has a 6 or Jack-9. I will win a big pot if that's the case. I hope he bets, and if he does, I hope he makes a big bet. It's likely that if he bets, it's going to be a very big bet. And he's not going to check. He's thinking... He decides to check. His range is pretty weak. He probably has a lot of bluffs that have decided not to bluff. A few 10x, even sometimes a queen. Queen 9, Queen Jack as the strongest hands in his range. I don't think he has straights or sets that are played like that. And no trips either. I have a clear value in a spot where I don't have a lot of bluffs. It's true that I have a strong hand, but I don't have a lot of bluffs. I'm gonna make it 2/3. I think that's an adequate sizing. My overpairs, such as aces, kings, or even ace-queen, want to bet on the river as well. And don't want to bet too big. I think having one sizing only on this river is the right option. He folds quickly.
High card. High card on 506.
They break the table. It's the last hand and I show them.
High card. High card on 506.
New table. Too bad, because I was comfortable at this one. I already knew most of my opponents. In the end, in the main event, you spend hours observing how each player plays. And after over 6 hours of playing with them, I had already figured out a lot of them. Now they are moving me to a different table. New adventure. I arrive at the new table, which looks worse than the previous one.
Okay.
Several regular players at the table. Leonard Maue, one of the opponents I've played the most against this year, a regular.
Now don't change the game, eh? Play the same. The same?
How are you playing?
So this camera, if I bought a
No.
I'm sure.
No need now. No need now.
If Leo changes,
Play all time.
Sir, what's your name?
My name is Adrian.
Adrian? You're Jim. You ever have a little dog, Chihuahua? No dog? No dog? Just stop biting your heels? You're nipping your heels?
That's you?
It's me, brother. Hey, if we're gonna do TV, let's make good TV.
Okay.
Now it's time to show. It's time to show now.
Yeah, I'm gonna start telling jokes. I mean,
Who is the bulldog here?
I can't tell you
You
that.
can tell me.
Top secret.
Okay, players, thank you for
Yeah?
You
Okay.
know,
You saw? If you love me, you have to show.
Yeah, of course.
How much you play? A lot?
You will call me, right?
1 million? 1.2?
Don't play hands.
you know the French comic? What's
Only with me.
Ahmed
Only
Silla?
play with me.
Which?
Ahmed Silla?
No.
French comedian? No?
I don't.
He sat next to me. Not this.
What's his name?
Hang on.
Are you sure it's French?
Yeah.
It doesn't sound very bright.
This is Morocco. He's a black
Oh,
black
like,
comic actor. Is it my first time?
Yeah.
Watch this. I'm gonna throw this guy right here.
Sorry, no.
You ready?
Start nipping.
I'm gonna start nipping right now.
There's a good atmosphere at the table. A lot of jokes and conversations. Although from a game point of view, there are several professional players that I know.
You have to wait for them to fold, then you can play your game. You want people to know outside of the table.
I'm on tilt.
The first 30 minutes of today, I thought.
I'm on tilt.
The bubble tilt.
The bubble tilt me, yeah.
Oh, Leo, man.
Yeah.
Sorry?
1.9.
Thank you.
You sure put his.
A player with whom I've played a lot over the last years. A high-stakes professional, not the type of player you want to run into in the main event. But oh well, you have to deal with all types of players. A flop where I'm going to have some frequency of donk bets and of checks. In this case, I decide to check. Check, check. The turn is a king. My hand can also, in this case, take both decisions, check or bet.
Josh, what's the number of players left on the screen? 5?
6-12.
6-12. Just curious.
Who's counting them down?
I was looking. My family's following me at home. So I'm going to send them updates. You know, how many are left, what you got, blah, blah, blah.
How many kids you have?
Oh, God.
River jack, and after a double check here, I often have the best hand.
My dad's on number
And a clear value bet.
Yeah, I'm trying to quit.
The sizing, I can use several sizings.
So I married a lady with 2 daughters. We had 1. We adopted 3. So I had 6 at one time.
There's no clear sizing with this hand.
Rare blood disease.
Oh, that's
And then
2/3 of the pot, he calls me quickly, and I win. Good start at this table, I continue accumulating chips.
and a son?
Huh?
And a son?
Yeah. So anyway, they're like 14 grandchildren or 16. I can't remember. Some big pile. Daughter keeps a spreadsheet.
I'm good. All of her picks?
No.
My friend.
She keeps.
He like got 8 dudes out there.
Oh, you bluff.
Jamie.
Yeah, me too.
It's your
Is it my turn?
Yeah.
Okay, hang on. Watch this. Oh, I should look. Close my eyes. Oh,
I tell you because you don't see it.
I find myself in a battle of the blinds with a premium hand for this spot. I decide to open to 3 blinds.
How many outs on that hand?
Yeah.
10, king, queen.
45.
The other side, the other end of the.
45.
There are plus draw.
You thought I had a bust or flush draw?
I think you can have the plus draw.
Oh, yeah.
He defends. He's playing about 30 blinds. Great flop.
You'd have never seen that straight coming.
Set. A board where I'm gonna have a high C betting frequency. Although I'm going to want to check some hands as well. This one can be in both options.
King Jack.
Both checking and betting seem valid to me.
Please drop it. You don't know how many women have said that to me.
Here I do have a very clear bet. A big sizing. I have to induce him to end up all in on the river, often.
He was 491 earlier. I don't know. I don't know if he has been or not. No, I still see him. He's still there. Yeah.
The player in the big blind goes in the tank. He folds. I keep accumulating pots, even though this one is smaller than I'd hoped.
On the turn.
Oh my god.
Oh shit. Oh, the ace on the river. Oh my god. Getting serious.
Attention all players does the main event. Players, after your please your current hand, 20-minute break.
Oh, it's for the
Oh,
nines.
Maradona.
Why, buddy? Why? How can you fold nines?
I say,
Huh?
I have a rate on you.
You have a read on me. You have a read on me. That's a good one, actually.
Once again, dealers, it's still very important. If you happen to lose a player this time, you'll pay out in your table number. Players, please remain at your seats if you happen to get eliminated this time.
¿Cómo va la armada?
Bien.
¿Va bien?
Mucha gente, bastantes por encima del millón y algo.
¿Cuántos quedan? ¿Está bien?
Estaremos como 18 o así. Igual habrá alguna baja en la que vamos a ver un poco las mesas, pero 18 o así aproximadamente.
¿Está por encima de la media de otros años o no?
Creo que sí. O sea, sobre todo a nivel stacks y gente que estáis ahí con stack y así, ¿sabes? O sea, creo que hay buenas balas, tío, sinceramente.
Bien, bien. A ver si arrancan.
Sí. Vamos a ver, tío.
Dale.
Back to the table for the last 2 hours of the day, last level. I think I'm currently chip leader of the tournament. If I'm not chip leader, I'm definitely in the top 3.
She gave my dad a corner lot.
Buenas, ¿qué tal? ¿Cómo va?
A corner lot.
Luchando, hay que pelearlo.
Her 17 acres, she gave him a corner lot. He built the house on in 1942. And that was the house I was raised in.
All right, players, come back with a small blind, 10,000, big blind, 20,000, and big 20,000. Dealers, please shuffle up a deal.
It looks like the table is going to break. They are going to move me to a new table for the last hours of the day.
King.
One more rack, please.
That guy, yellow. Where the hell is that? It's behind you. Okay, here we go.
Suerte.
All right, good luck, Hot Rock.
Good luck. Hello.
Welcome to the table.
Thank you. What the fuck is this? Is that yours? Sir? Is it yours? What's that?
New table. And he joins me at the table. Leonard Maue, arguably the best player at the previous table.
Button on you. Welcome to the table.
Bringing some chips to the table. There we go. Thank you, fellas.
Too bad he's joining me, but oh well. It's only for an hour and the table looks better than the previous one.
Buttons right.
There are not a lot of players I know. $550 players remaining in this main event, on the verge of moving on to day 5. It's almost midnight. Long day. Most of us got up very early and the tired faces are starting to show. 9-8 of diamonds.
Race.
I can call. I can also 3-bet from time to time, but the majority of the time, this hand is just a call.
Fold.
The small blind, who has a short stack, is thinking. He's thinking for a long time. He's pretty short. He goes all in. He keeps a 5,000 chip behind, probably to tank and save some time for the pay jump. He shoves 7 blinds. The initial raiser folds and I have to call.
Right.
I ask him for his last 5,000 chip.
You're 10 away.
10 away?
10 away, it ain't gonna matter. You're gonna.
They inform him that there are 10 players left before the pay jump.
Don't be that guy.
It's
only
too far. He calls. It's a flip. Good news for me.
Good luck.
Wish him luck.
Yeah. It's good karma, maybe.
It's not karma.
No
It's just, that's just amateurism.
I know, right?
Wow.
5?
Come on, man. What the hell?
Big game, guys.
Payout 528.
I win this small flip and continue accumulating chips. 1 player less.
Raise.
It's raised from early position on my big blind. He picked a big sizing of 2.5. Still, this is a very good hand. And I'm gonna call. I managed to surpass the 4 million in chips. Let's see if I continue on this upward trend. I check. A c-bet size that is standard, although rather big. It's the ideal size for this type of flop, but not everyone knows it. The queen gives me a double gut shot. Now the jack also works for me to hit a straight in addition to the 7. Although if he bets big again, it puts me in a very uncomfortable spot. Let's hope he checks. He decides to check. Good news. Jack on the river, it gives me the straight. I only lose against King 10. It's a hand he can have. Still, I have a very good hand that I'm going to want to bet for value. I have quite a few hands that are going to want to bluff on this river. And we always have to value bet. We have to carefully think about the size and how much to bet. 3/4 seems good to me. I'm still going to have enough bluffs on this river. Several hands that I can bluff or turn into a bluff here.
235.
He calls quickly. He has pocket 10, we split. When he calls this quickly, in general, we're splitting. Seven, six of diamonds.
Raise.
It's raised again from early position. I'm in the small blind this time. 7-6 is a hand that I'm going to want to call with. There's also the big blind who calls.
Good players.
Good flop. I have top pair, a backdoor straight draw, and a backdoor flush draw. Let's see what my opponent does. He checks. The turn is a 10. I'm going to want to often check this hand. Triple check. River 4. Well, I'm often going to have the best hand here. It's rare for the under the gun raiser to have a stronger hand than mine, apart from some hands that hit on the river such as ace 3 or 4-4. I will almost always have the best hand, and the big blind could actually have a better 7 than mine, or a 10. But even so, he has a lot of hands such as 5x, 4x, 2x that can call me. On top of that, the initial raiser could think I'm bluffing and call me with ace high as well. Against him, I have the best hand most of the time. He decides to call me. And I win a nice pot after this value bet.
Raise. Raise. Doesn't matter.
A bit of patience on the last hands. I'm a bit card dead.
Good, yes sir.
All right. Y'all know the drill. Name, hometown, chip count. On the bags, new table number, new seat.
And for the first time in my career, I managed to make it to day 5 of the main event with one of the biggest stacks in the tournament. Very, very happy.
Good luck to y'all.
Name, chip count, table seat number on the bag.
4.5 million for day 5. A big stack. Very, very happy. Great job today, but there's still a long way to go. Yes, sir.
That's a good.
White to me, yellow and same.
Good night, guys.
I just want to ask you how your day went, poker-wise.
Good, of course. Just winning many pots and just going up all the way, all day. So
Any hands that stand out for you?
I forgot. I played too much. I don't remember. I mean, just win every big pot come to my way, so everything goes well. When I bluff, they fall. When I value bet, they call. So everything going well.
There is no one big flip in the middle of the day, no ace king to queen, something like this.
Yeah, I won. Yeah, 600k each. Ace king queens. Yeah. Long like 5 hours ago or something.
And your plans for the rest of the tournament? Are you just
to win? I guess.
hope you enjoy the podcast.
Just play my best every day and let's see what happens.
You see it day by day?
Yeah. Hand by hand, not day by day. Hand by hand.
Right. Thank you.
Thank you. Hey, what's up? Yeah, sure.
Okay, my friend, his favorite hand is pocket five.
Yeah.
Can you say something nice about pocket fives? It's a good hand, something about pocket fives, okay? All right, Chris, I got a little treat for you here.
Let's play pocket five for a win always, for a win.
Such a good guy, man. Thank you so much. Thank you.
See you.
Time to call it a day. I'm going home to get some rest. It's important to get a good night's sleep with all the emotions of the day. I think I'm still keeping a cool head. There are still a lot of players left. It's a great experience, but we shouldn't forget that there are still 500 left and that there's still a lot of work to do.
You don't even usually need big hands to make your opponents tremble, Adrian. So when you start connecting with every flop, the result is simply devastating. This fourth day of the main event ends just like the previous ones, with the conquest of a new peak. Your stack has jumped to 4.5 million. You are now second in the overall ranking, with only 464 players left out of the 10,000 original participants. You're closer than ever to the holy grail in the world's greatest tournament, and we're counting down the hours until we find out what happens next in the next episode of Inside the Mind of a Pro.